Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Park and Recreation Advisory Committee meeting for February the 18th, 2019. We do have a quorum. I call this meeting to order. I need a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I make a motion. Second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And I say aye. So we will move on to old business. The butterfly ball / daddy-daughter dance. AC?
Well, we had a really good turnout for that. We estimated somewhere between 250 and 300 people showed up for that, all dressed up and looking sharp. And our vice mayor was there, and our police chief was there, and we had a lot of people show up at that. Everybody got a lot of good pictures taken, and the weather was decent for that. And we want to thank Roy Waldron School for letting us have that over there, and Felicia and her crew did a fantastic job of decorating for that. So, Lisa, you want to touch on some stuff on that too, or?
AC told you about the attendance. We were really excited about that. Everyone there was excited. It was upbeat. We did a fun photo booth, and everyone seemed to like that. I also had a journalist from MTSU there as well. So they did a story on their small journalism department about our dance as well. We did interviews with them. News Journal was there, I believe. Dan?
Epite.
Yes.
Murfreesboro Post.
Murfreesboro Post.
Yeah.
So he was there as well. So we just had a really good time, good turnout. We had some great volunteers from Box 100. And then, of course, our Parks and Rec guys did a great job. So, just another successful event. We had a lot of fun and a good time.
How many y'all are talking about the number that was there? It was good. I'm just curious to let the people at home that may be watching later on, how many has been normally coming, or does it keep increasing every year?
Well, it varies a little bit. It was down this year, I think, by a few, but last year it was pouring raining last year, and we still had, I'd say, close to 400 there for that. So it varies, just depending on what's going on outside, if the weather's nice or bad, or if there's an event somewhere around, and but it just varies. It's not real consistent either way, but it's always a good turnout.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think next? What do you think we need to do to make it to where we got to get Laverne High School gymnasium? Or is that even something that?
Well, I mean, first off, actually, you're trying to let the cat out of the bag a little early, but we're shooting for Laverne Middle next year. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
We are.
Well, I was just asking questions, and because
All right.
I seen a lot of things on Facebook about it, and people were super excited. The grandmoms with the daughters, even the grandmoms with the sons, the granddaddies with the granddaughters, and just,
Oh, yeah.
It was
There was mothers and sons there. There were grandparents that came. There were, there was also somebody, I believe a few of their uncles maybe might have escorted them in with them as well. So, exactly what we marketed it to be, that everyone was welcome, everyone came. So it was perfect.
Does anybody have any questions for them before we move on to?
How many did you say were in attendance this year?
We just made between 250 and 300.
250 and 300?
Somewhere in there, yeah. It was a pretty good turnout.
Was it?
Gym was full. I mean, the dance floor stayed full the whole time.
Yep. Our DJ this year he did a great job. So we were excited about that as well.
Yeah.
All right. So we will move on to new business. This is something that I think AC or someone, I don't remember now, that brought this up last month about this cultural festival. Sounded really good. So AC, if you'll give us some more info.
Well, I will defer this one to Felicia. I think this is something the mayor was interested in as well. So if you want to share a little bit about that with him.
Yeah, it was a little different. This is what we pulled from some OTF results. This came from us wanting to do something that was multicultural that we did not have an event yet for. So I got together with a few other people that were looking over the results of this, and we determined that we wanted to do something to celebrate our our different cultures in the area. So what we're trying to do is just host, a small meet and greet type event with the different business owners that from different ethnicities in our community, and bring those together, possibly over food or small crafts, things like that, and just kind of get everyone together. So I'm shooting for the end of March. Of course, it's a lot of groundwork to get these people free and get them all on the same weekend, but I'm really hoping to have something towards the end of March.
Have you talked to any of the
I have
restaurants and
a
things?
few of them.
Got a positive?
Yes.
I think it's super. Anytime we can bring other people, just like in baseball, we'll talk about that in a minute, that we can bring in other groups, I think it's a good deal.
Yes.
Anyone have any questions? Go ahead.
How much do you estimate that the event will cost the city? How much do you have budgeted?
For the Culture Festival, nothing. This is something that came from OTF. It would cost the city a day's worth of work for the people that would work it, which would be myself,
So where would you
AC,
pull
the
the
Parks and
funds?
Rec
Where would the funds be coming from, since it wasn't in the budget,
programs.
in Parks and Rec? So there is extra funds available in that fund?
Well, it's not necessarily extra funds. The way it works out is sometimes we don't spend as much on an event that we thought we were going to.
Okay.
So it kind of fluctuates back and forth. If we see that we have some extra and we do a relatively inexpensive event like a cultural event where mainly that's just all the food people or whoever bringing their own stuff and setting up, just using our park. It's it kind of takes care of itself if you're not pouring a bunch of money into it. So.
So it would be just the workers having to pay the workers.
Yeah, just having somebody there, and I have guys there 7 days a week anyway.
Right,
So,
okay.
So you're trying to get this done by the end of March so it don't get into grass cutting season, which is, because I've been thinking about that, and we're going to talk about that too in a minute. But I know you're getting ready to put your running shoes on, so the end of March. And did you come up with a spot for sure? I know we talked about the
For the
center.
Cultural Festival?
Yeah.
Yes, it would be at the center. We
Okay.
would like to use this, the walkway there it's very nice.
Okay.
The shape of it is a small, more communal area where it's centrally located. We have a lot of people that travel, and that would also bring more attention to our senior center, which is a plus.
So I sent emails out to all the board members that I think that it's somewhat of an honor to be on this board and help with the city. So I want to try to get all of us to start doing more things instead of just showing up once a month and giving our opinion, because it'd be, even for me, it would be hard for me to give my opinion if I'm not out there
Absolutely.
actually volunteering and helping. So will you write us up or give us some ideas how we can do good in the community?
Absolutely.
You
I would love that.
Because, I mean,
I did. I seen Miss Mary Jane, Bob. I've seen you at a majority of our events.
well, I mean,
love it.
I'm not going to say I go to all of them, but I try. But the thing about it is I don't want us to just be an advisory committee. I don't think any of us is, too cool to get our hands dirty a little bit. But
Yeah, if there's
but
some
we
kind
do
of-
need guidance from somebody like yourself to point us in the right direction so we all ain't stepping on each other's toe going to see the same people or doing the same thing. We got to have a little bit
I
of
will
leadership.
get that out to you by tomorrow. I would love to have your help. I think that would, everyone on this board has something to offer that could be
Absolutely.
so useful. So I appreciate that.
I have a suggestion about that, because I think we all have areas that we're interested in. As Felicia knows, I help serve on the pageant committee. That's an area of interest to me. And maybe getting with the committee members and seeing what areas they'd like to help in. Also, I'm usually, up until my daughter or granddaughter had to go to the other town, previously had coached in or was a team mom on the youth, on the, not the football, but the softball. So, I think there's different areas that we're all kind of interested in, and maybe talking and seeing where you could utilize our interests in help in those different areas.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, any more questions for Felicia? And now this next one is a good one because I personally am, because I like to eat, if you haven't noticed. I'm ready for a homegrown tomato, but what ideas we got for farmer's market, AC?
Well, this is mainly for informational purposes. We're going to try something a little bit different this year. As Felicia was just talking about the cultural festival being down around the senior center, we're also going to move the farmer's market down there.
Oh,
Around the walking trail there so the vendors can set up. There's more parking. It's a little bit safer. It's off of the main road, but we're going to advertise it. We're going to put signs out, and hopefully we'll draw more customers because that road running in front of the senior center is a busy road. There's a lot of cars up and down that road. And if we can get some advertisement down by the roundabout, I think the business will be just as good or better there. And even though it's kind of a PR thing now, still everything, Parks Department has their hand in everything. So we have to help out with that and set it up and try to help maintain it. So.
I think the farmer's market has grown enough now and been in existence for enough time to where people like myself, they actually look forward to it. So they'll go down, make a left turn and go down there to get to it. Well, that's good. That's definitely some good parking.
Yeah, I also noticed, because I read the application for vendors, so this year it will strictly be homemade crafts, if I remember from reading the application.
Yep.
Yeah, it's always
For
been,
the
you,
farmer's
it,
market.
it's always been, you have to home make the item if it's a craft, or it has to be a locally grown.
Homegrown too. You can't go and buy it
Correct.
somewhere else and bring it and sell it out.
So that was
Not
the
supposed
same
to.
as last year.
I wonder how many do.
Yeah.
I hope none.
I hope none too, but
That's great. I like that. All right, and last but certainly not least, almost last, is the ball league.
yeah, we just wanted to give y'all up to date on what's going on there. They were going to do some sign-ups this coming Friday in person at the ballpark. And the whole time there's online sign-ups going on. We did meet with Michael today, and they did have a hiccup as far as what they had on their website. They had somebody down in the park early, wasn't it early Saturday? And after about an hour or so, hour and a half or whatever, nobody showed up, and they weren't sure why. But so they rescheduled a sign-up for this coming Friday, and then the next one is the 22nd. Is that right, Felicia?
Yes.
On the 22nd is going to be a Saturday sign-up as well. And then, obviously, they'll keep telling everybody that you can go online and sign up, and they're also going to have late sign-ups. I talked to him about that today. He said they're going to let people sign up as long as they want to. So, and I've had people come and sign up in the middle of the season before, so, people that move from out of town and they want to get their kids involved, even if it's only for a few games, So, late sign-ups is a big thing, too.
If you don't mind me adding just the exacts on that, it's TennesseeStrikers.com for their registration. They'll have on-site February 22nd from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And March 2nd from 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. PM, excuse me. They're going to be there all day. Uniform fittings are available at the on-site registration as well. So that is straight from them. I wanted to share that with you.
And I tried to get one of the reps to come here tonight to talk to us so we could all ask questions, particularly me. I had some questions. They said they could not make it, said they would answer my questions in an email. I copied you guys. I'm sure you all seen all my questions. I thought they were legit questions. Of course, I did have a statement about my phone started ringing Saturday, and I couldn't understand what was going on, and then there was a lack of communication between the city and them, but I'm going to go with AC. He said he talked to them, so we'll let it go with that. And
A lot of complaints about getting signed up.
you should have been on my phone, Mr. Bob. But there again, it,
What you do is give him his phone number when that happens and say, call him and sign up.
didn't have it.
Well, I'll make sure you have it.
I put that in my email. I wanted all
Matter of
contact.
fact, he's the one that said that. He said, if that happens, tell him to call me.
Yeah.
So,
And their contact information's on the website as well.
All right, now that's the last thing that's on the agenda. One of the things that I wanted to talk about or bring up, last month, I think it was Debbie Ewan that brought it up, about the community garden thing. Last week one day last week, it came up again, and it was on Facebook, and golly, there was a lot of positive posts about it. I had never thought about it. I did put on there and replied back that this would be something that would definitely be welcome in the community, but it would not involve the city. They had asked about parks. I told them that Parks and Rec would not have the manpower. It would definitely be a community project if somebody wanted to help and get it going. I was hoping Debbie would be here tonight, but she's not, so I will relay the message. But to get your thoughts, AC, I talked to Chief Chris Clark about over there next to the admin building.
it's a good spot for it. That's some good ground over there.
It's got some good ground. It's kind of mediocre, in Laverne. It's not directly in the middle, but it's close. But in my opinion, if Debbie or whoever would like to head something like that up for the community, I think it'd be a good idea. And like I said, I talked to Chris if somebody else has got a better idea about the space, but they've got a lot of space over there next to the admin building.
Yeah, and it's kind of a secure location too, it being the fire admin building, so, and, we could, obviously, it would have to be done with mostly volunteers, but we could do whatever we need to do as far as keeping it mowed over there, and we'd have to borrow a tiller from somebody. I'm sure there's plenty of people around here with a tiller we could get, though. I don't know how rocky the ground is over there. I know with the park it's really bad, but
Yeah.
over there it might be okay. We'll have to go out there with a rod and just check the ground around that area, depending on how big we're wanting to go with it, too.
That was my next question. So we don't own a tiller?
No, we don't own one.
Okay. All right. Well,
Sod cutter, I have one of those at the park, but I don't have a tiller.
Well, I just, I wanted to be able to, excuse me, I wanted to be able to at least report back to the citizens that were interested in this, at least give them an idea about where we might think it would be a good place. I know that there was some mention about around the police station out in Lake Forest. I, for one, I don't care much for that ideal. I think that a lot of bad things could happen to it.
I agree.
But I would at least like to be able to report back to those citizens and say, hey, we talked about it, and we're going to work it up with the city, and the fire chief has said that he's got no problem with it. So, I mean, this is kind of way over my head, but I'm just indulging. If you all have any.
We had one about 3 years ago at the senior center.
Yeah. It went real well. The seniors was taking care of it, and when the produce started coming in, it got vandalized, and it just kind of gave up.
Well, that's kind of why I looked at over there, like AC said, it's kind of a safe place anyway.
Yeah.
And now where is that?
Over there at the Civic Center, where they turned it into the,
Oh, okay.
well, I don't even know the name of it, Fire and
Well, it's
Rescue.
Civic Auditorium, but now it's the fire admin building.
Fire admin.
Yeah.
Fire and Rescue.
No, just the fire.
Fire
Just
admin.
fire.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought there was something else into it.
No, the rescue squad's behind it. down
Yeah, I
there.
know the Rescue Squad, but I thought they added something else on the name. But there again, I said that's why it's kind of new, but I just thought I would bring it up. But
You mean on the left side as you drive in?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's where he showed me.
For it.
I know you were saying that you really wasn't sure. Hopefully, having maybe one of our committee members head that up would be great. But then just asking the community for almost a volunteer sign up, if you will, even online, and then setting a date to kind of meet in person and decide how big we want to go, what we want to do, and just kind of sit around. And I think maybe that would be a good step to take.
Like I said,
Yeah.
that's new to me now. All I can do is bring it up and talk about it. I would be more than happy to be a tomato taste tester for them when it comes in. I mean, just volunteering my expertise on that. But
Good that you're wanting to do your part.
well, hey, but anyway.
I would like to suggest, because I did work on with Robin Grubb when she was involved with, the Parks and Recreation Department was involved with the community garden at the senior center, and it was not, it had a lot of potential, but because it was not organized, that was another part of the problem.
Right, like I suggested, having one of our committee members head that team, especially if that's what we're hearing from, our community that they want that to happen. I think that might give it at least a head to go to if they need questions or things like that, and then they could maybe spearhead the volunteers. Because I have heard a lot of people interested in it, like you said, Steve.
They're always interested, but then the follow-through is what I'm concerned about, because that's what happened last time, because there was no guidelines set in place, and that's why I'm concerned that the city does have to oversee that, to make sure there are guidelines that whoever heads this up is going to,
Well, the committee-
otherwise you are going to be responsible for taking care of all that in the Parks and Recreation Department.
We just can't do it. I mean,
Right,
it's-
that's why the committee
Right, and that's
member
why I'm
would be
saying
in
there's got to
charge
be
of
some
that.
rules and guidelines set up from the
Well, that's what,
beginning.
if we're hoping we can find a good volunteer
Yeah.
person to just actually take this on and make it theirs, and then get enough other volunteers to help keep it weeded and keep the vegetables pulled out of it and it mowed around it and everything and keep it, as it should be. That's the thing. Sometimes when you do a project like this, everybody's ready to go, and then when it's time to work,
Right.
nobody wants to be there. So you got to be careful with that. But because if we commit to it, if a volunteer group gets together and they want to do it, that's fine. We'll do all we can do to help out with it. But like Steve said, once the mowing starts, you can't stop it. Once
It's game
mow it
over.
one time, you got to keep going. So
And I explained that to him, and being Debbie Hewin's not here, and she brought it up, can we vote her being the head person of that, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, obviously, she would have to do that, but I think she would be a great person because she's definitely, I know people have reached out to her and, she's,
So you've seen the comments?
I did.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah,
I
I've seen it.
forgot yeah. So, AC, just real quick, not to change the subject, but do we talk about the Easter egg next month when we come back?
I thought we'd talk about that at the next one because it is before the Easter egg hunt. But I can tell y'all this: we got 10,000 eggs at the shop. So
Well, that's one of the,
Don't y'all come trying to find the gold egg now yet. I got it hidden real good.
I don't want to get into that big discussion about it this month, but that's one of the big ones that
Yeah.
I would like for all of us to be there to help.
I agree.
I'm always there.
we'll be there.
I already have a list. I've already obviously started planning it, but I already have a task list out. So if you guys definitely know for sure you want to be there and things like that, let me know, and I can. I mean, it's a great big event. But
guess,
it's so much fun.
Box 100 is always there.
Yes, sir. They
Yeah.
I don't
are.
know what I'd do without them.
I don't know either.
It is just, it's a madhouse up there.
Yeah, it is.
Can't say, we
We need a lot of.
We will talk about it next month,
Yeah,
but we're not gonna pull the rope until it's time.
Next month.
But, anyway, that, like I said, we'll talk about that next month. That'll be a good subject. So, Mr. Bob, we'll start with you. You have any questions, concerns, comments?
No, not right off I like the Parks and Recreation. They're doing a great job, as always.
Thank you.
And I'm getting ready for the grass cutting deal. I like to see the guys out there. Not me. Blow my horn at them, let them know I appreciate what they're doing. And I hope that this year brings us more activities. And I like what you brought up earlier about us being involved, which I'm pretty much involved in. I go to the baseball games, softball games, anything that's going on, I try to be there. If it's not for 15 15, 20 minutes, or just make my presence known and ask questions. If there's anybody has any ideas, I'll bring them back to the board, that's all.
Good.
And
All
that's
right.
what we all need to do, I think.
Ms. Deborah?
Yeah, I've seen you for years at everything, both you two. You've been to everything. I've always seen you for years, and you too, Steve. But I did want to say that I've been doing some research on the community garden at home. If you want to see some of it on how to implement a successful one. So I don't really want to head that up. But I've been looking at some information. And I
Now,
know that
being
there's
she
some
brought that
different
up, can we take another vote? I didn't know this.
but I don't want to. I don't want to be in charge of that.
But you not be in charge, but input
I can
ideas.
give some-
Okay, that's,
I can
hey,
definitely
listen,
input
that's
some
fair
ideas.
enough.
And actually, there's some different things I was thinking that would, that could implement with the library too. So, but I'll save that for later. I'll save it for later, so. Let me see. I have been looking at some different grants also. So, I do try to do things to look, what did I tell you? I was going to look for arts grants. I've been looking at some of those different ones and saving some different ideas. I'd like to sit down and talk to Montique a little bit more, and they were more for music, festivals, things like that. So I've already been working on that.
I don't have any problem in telling this board and the people at home that I have been trying to read about grants and do stuff, but man, I'll tell you, that is so far over my head. You know, I'll leave it up to the professionals and, you know.
Yeah, you either like looking at it or,
Work on a grant for a senior citizen community center, and it ain't happened in 15 years, I think I've been here. Ain't that right?
Next.
and I wanted to say, I read today that you're back. Well, congratulations and welcome back. It's good to see you, Kathy. So I said,
Oh,
know
I
that
forgot
name.
I forgot to introduce her, yeah.
So welcome back. I'm glad to see that you applied for that position and received it.
Very excited.
So,
Ms. Skinner?
I think the community garden thing is great. Like I said many years ago, the seniors, what was her name?
Robin
Rose?
Grubb.
Robin Grove?
We worked on it, and even put a little fence around the garden. And it was doing real well because the seniors would go out there every day and get their little tomatoes and cucumbers and little cantaloupes, and then all of a sudden it became vandalized, and so it just went by the way. And
Well, hopefully being over there by the fire admin building, there'll be less of
a
that.
whole lot better. So, but I liked it. I mean, I was out there every day with the seniors, you know. And, so I think it's a good thing.
Mr. Eric?
Yes, just want to say thank you to Parks and Rec for your service that you continue to do. And just want to make a comment. I appreciate seeing like the ball dance name change and definitely advertising to the entire family, because my son actually brought that up because he was like, hey, I would like to dance with everybody, like mom and dad. So glad to hear that ball is rolling and going down that path. I did have a question in regards to baseball advertising. Is that just like make sure you're sharing on your like social media networks, and is there anything else that we can do to help advertise?
As far as the advertisement goes, your social media, friends and family, you know, your church's organization, I mean, any, however you're affiliated within our community, just get the word out there.
Yep.
That's really it. They're signed up with a few different websites already, things like that. So all that's already, you know, is what they can do is done. So now it's our part as, you know, our leaders and our, you know, the people that they look up to in the community to go ahead and get the word out there and let them know that we are here. So if you have questions, you know, I can do flyers, anything you need for that, be happy to share with
We
you.
did take flyers to the schools in the surrounding area and
Yes.
drop those off today.
Okay, great. Perfect.
And I have copies of those if you do want them.
I do, because I do plan on actually signing up tonight.
Wonderful.
So definitely looking forward to participating and helping get the word out.
Awesome.
right, thank you.
If you guys know anybody that's looking to coach as well, you can have them get a hold of me, and I'll put them in touch with the right people. so we can do coaching or, and then of course anybody that wants to actually, participate in our recreation league.
Perfect. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, in my email today, I asked them what could we do as the city, as this board, to try and promote them. One of the things that I did, and matter of fact, it's in there in my mailbox that I can't get to, that Ann got up, and I've already put some out, was I had a big flyer printed up in Spanish. Because I want to try and get the Hispanic community involved. I know that a lot of the kids, they like to play soccer, but I have gotten some done, so I'll be putting those at places, grocery stores, restaurants, Dollar Generals, Walmart, where there's a big, because we have a huge Hispanic community.
Don't forget about your churches around. If you could go, visit them, speak with the pastors or priests.
That's a
anybody
good
there.
idea. See, that's why we have you.
Thank you.
You know.
But just keep in mind things like that, after school programs or taekwondos, things like that. All of those places that house, our children through the weekdays as well as the weekend. Just keep those places in mind.
I don't guess I've got a whole lot to talk about it, believe it or not. But one of the things that, and I don't want to sound greedy, or I don't want to sound holier than thou.
Bring it on out.
But I've been in this city for 25 years, and I've seen these boards. And both of the boards that I sit on, and particularly this one, I want this one to be the best. I want it to be the best involvement. That's why I sent the email out. Again, if you don't go out to the community and engage with what's going on, I don't think you can come in here and sit up here at this board and give me a positive thought about that if you wasn't there. Now, that's just my opinion, but I want everybody to try and get involved, be here. I know you're going to be sick. Lord knows, with this crud that's going around right now. But anyway, next month, we should have a really good meeting. I'm assuming that between the cultural thing and the Easter egg and things like that, it's going to be busy. So with that being said,
I had someone ask me about football, and I told him it was a little bit early.
yeah, we're going to,
Talk about
me and
football.
AC's talked a little bit.
About that.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about
Okay,
football, so we will get to it,
okay.
so on and so forth. But with that being said, I call this meeting adjourned.